Hi, this is Rich Berliner from Charged Up, and in a few minutes I'm going to be doing a podcast with Ray Wang from HEVI. HEVI is one of the first manufacturer of electric front loaders and bulldozers, and they are a terrific company. And Ray and I are going to get into a long conversation about how it got to be that they're bringing these pieces of equipment to market, and I'm really looking forward to that. Well, it may be called HEVI, but I don't think it's heavy. Hi, everyone. This is Rich Berliner, and I'm here with Raymond Wang from HEVI. And
Hello.
this is the Charged Up podcast, a fifth gen media publication. And I'm really happy to have Ray on the show today. We've gotten to know each other, but I'm very interested in HEVI, the equipment they manufacture, and the portable chargers that they are selling. And so I wanted to chat with Ray on this podcast today. Ray, welcome to the Charged Up podcast.
Thanks, Rich. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being with us today. So, Ray, I wanted to understand more about the journey.
Mhm.
I think that's an important thing for people to understand, that, Rome wasn't built in a day, of course. But
Mhm.
how did you get started? How did this whole thing come about? And where are you and what gear are you selling at this point?
Mhm.
And tell us about the journey, please.
Sure, very happy to. So we actually started our business in the component manufacturing world. Our the parent company for HEVI has been around since 2006, and we are the market leader in the manufacture of drivetrains and transmissions for the material handling industry, primarily forklifts. So, if you've ever operated a forklift across all the many brands out there, there's a good chance that our guts were powering it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I did that in
And
college. I was on a forklift and rode around in a factory for the entire summer. So I'm very
Mhm.
familiar.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, and we over our time since we formed in 2006, we've become the market leader of our space, and we've become quite good at what we do. Even from a manufacturing standpoint, we are developing high-tech products for the industry that's powering all the new technology today in forklifts, from lithium power to additional fuel sources as well. And we even are able to push over a 35% margin on some of our products, which in manufacturing is unheard of.
Right.
And as market leader doing what we've done, we're extremely proud of it. But the big question, of course, is what's next? It's the Alexander the Great problem. There's no more worlds to conquer. What's next?
Yeah.
So, this is where, as a business, we began to explore ways to move further up the vertical chain. So, instead of just being a component manufacturer, let's take our expertise in manufacturing to develop a full machine ourselves. And we wanted to focus on the sustainability industry because from a global standpoint, there was a shifting trend to embrace more sustainable options, which we are extremely proud of, myself personally, because also I think from a social standpoint, a societal standpoint, this is the direction that we need to take it. Because there's so much machinery still powered by fossil fuel sources today, that has the technology capable to be able to start introducing alternative technologies, cleaner technologies. And that'll make a huge impact for the industries as a whole and for generations to come. So when we were exploring different product lines, different sizes, machineries, we settled on heavy duty construction equipment. So I'm talking about front loaders, excavators. Typically, you see moving dirt and material on a job site. We found when we were initially doing our research that there was not a single clean technology alternative away from your traditional diesel system that was commercially available. At that time, this was on a global scale. So we knew that was the target where we can leverage our expertise in manufacturing and the industry that we have, where we have the networks and partnerships to develop a clean energy, all electric platform to provide job sites and fleet managers around the world with alternatives to have a cleaner job site if it fits their business.
Right? Did you ever kind of look at the um, choice or the option of developing these pieces of equipment as internal combustion engine gear?
So we did not. We did not. Um, because our key approach and part of our culture is being able to introduce new technologies ahead of trends. So we always push to become the pioneer. Talking about our component origins, we introduced the world's first integrated drivetrains specifically catered towards lithium-powered forklifts. So you take the three hardest components for a lithium-powered forklift, the speed reduction gearbox, the electric motor, and the driving axle, made into one package. So this way, any company looking to make their own lithium-powered forklift can just take our product, drop it in, and just design everything else around it by picking seats, moldings, masts, things like that.
So
And this
the
actually drove and launched lithium-powered forklifts on a global scale.
Really, so my familiarity from back in the day, as I said, I've driven a forklift, was the propane
Mhm.
driven forklift, which stunk up the factory. And you always got a blast of that propane exhaust in your face as
Yep.
you drove around the factory. So the interesting part of this is HEVI is a basically an origin story of those excavators and front loaders
Mhm.
that are fully electric from the get-go. It's not a
Yep.
design that was turned into an electric piece of equipment. It was designed to be electric from the get-go. Is that correct?
That's correct. These are not retrofits in any ways. These are fully designed up specifically for an all-electric power source. And these are massive lithium batteries. I mean, on our largest machine, which we call the H65L, it's a 50,000 pound plus all-electric front loader. The battery that powers that weighs over 2.5 tons in size.
Wow.
But you need that power to be able to get the job done. You know, these are not toys. They're heavy equipment assets that need to get the job done and need
Right.
to have the strength to do it.
Right. And so, how's the journey going? I mean,
Mhm.
I would assume that there are probably a fair amount of people that you go to visit and
Mhm.
go, electric. I don't understand. I've been working with, these huge machines for my whole career, and all of a sudden you're trying to introduce an electric machine to me. I don't get it. How's it going? How's the journey going?
Yeah. So the journey's going well, but definitely it's challenging. We created HEVI in 2019, so we've already been at it for over 5 years right now. And it's definitely challenging, but progressing very nicely. And we're very proud of the progress that we've made so far. Just as you mentioned, and the reason why we are even doing what we're doing is because everyone that operates heavy equipment today has been utilizing a diesel system. The fathers before them used diesel, and even the fathers before them, it's been diesel. It's been diesel for over a century right now. And moving away from that, getting people to try something different is a challenge for sure. Change is never easy, but it's very important to have pioneers push to introduce new products, new options, to be educators to this industry, to get people to give change a try, give it a shot. And that's how whole new industries are developed, whole new brands.
Right.
And
Well,
Heavy is still the leading and only real pioneer in the United States doing it today.
I was going to ask that. My assumption is because I haven't seen anything else
Mhm.
like what you're doing, like your products. So
Mhm.
I assumed that you are that. And I was going to use the term pioneer.
Mhm.
You just beat me to the punch, but you certainly are that.
Mhm.
But let's talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to electrification in general, and certainly heavy equipment. Um, what's the situation with charging?
Mhm.
That would seem to be a question that these people would bring up at the very early stages of your introducing this, of your pioneering pitch, if you will.
Mhm.
How is that accomplished, and how do you see it rolling out in the future?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's a very important question. And it's actually starting with our origin on why we picked electric to begin with. We didn't do it because it was trendy. We did it because, from a practicality standpoint, for a job site or an organization to be able to consider adding cleaner technologies to their fleet, there has to be the infrastructure to keep that power going. So when we were exploring whether we wanted to do it electric, hydrogen, or any other different type of clean power source, we settled on electric because of that infrastructure availability. Now, our equipment, the largest battery we have is about 512 kilowatts. It's a massive, massive batteries. There's even options to push it up to 618 volts, right around 423 kilowatt hours. So that's massive. That's bigger than what many electric buses are being powered by today.
Right.
So then, to your point, how do you charge that? So these are DC powered machines. So what that means is, if a site is lucky enough to have a level 3 DCFC charger that's putting out about 150 to 300 kilowatts per hour, then fantastic. That'll charge these machines in a little over an hour from dead. But
Really?
yeah, but it's not practical today. I mean, we're based in New Jersey. That's where we're headquartered. We have an assembly site in Maryland. And for New Jersey right now, there's less than 600 DCFC charging stations across the entire state. Entire state. So if you're a mom and pop landscaping company or a regional waste management company, you're probably not going to have one. So we had to solve that. And the way that we did it is by developing portable DCFC chargers. So they're simple box. They will be powered by either 220 volt or 480 volt three-phase power. And every job site across America has 220, and most that utilize heavy equipment would have 480 as well. We don't use any proprietary hookups or adapters or anything like that. Just your standard plug can go right into a 220 or 480 volt outlet, and then the other end goes into the machine.
Right. Your standard twist lock. Correct.
Yes, you got it. You
Yeah.
got it. And with a 480 volt power, even our largest machine, it'll charge it from dead in about 10, 11 hours. So that sounds like a long time, but the use case that we market our machines for is, you let it run for a full shift. It'll handle a full day's work. They can operate for over 8 to 9 hours of true operating work. And then once the shift's over, you plug it in, let it charge overnight, and it's ready to go in the morning.
Right. And I thought, from my travels in the charging space that I do a lot of research on,
Mhm.
this portable charging unit was unique.
Mhm.
And there were a lot of people that were sort of talking about portable chargers, but yours had some features and the option to be able to do exactly what you just described that was unique in there. How did that all come about? Was that developed absolutely from a clean sheet of paper, and you knew that's what you needed to get going with this business on these sites?
Mhm. So it's actually partnerships and our network. That's very, very important. If we start everything from the ground up, we would not be able to deliver the best foot forward that we can to get people to adopt change. This is heavy equipment assets. These aren't like weekend leisurely luxury products. These have to work, otherwise that business is going to suffer. So what we do is we take our knowledge and expertise and find the partners to satisfy the gaps so we can produce the best quality product out there. And that's what we did with our portable chargers. So we took our know-how and needs to solve charging and battery systems for the US infrastructure, electrical infrastructure, and then partnered with top tier charger manufacturers on a global scale, and we created the product. So it's not a product that's entirely heavy created from the ground up. Just like any good project, it's a team-based effort, and we worked together with some very strong partners to create the portable chargers that we have. And you're right, they are the first of their kind. They're very, very innovative. The key thing is from a communication standpoint that it works across the electrical grid wherever you're plugging it in. And we have succeeded that in practice because our equipments are being utilized on job sites. And we do demos, so many demos.
Yeah.
But we never have had an issue with charging compatibility with our portable DC chargers, and that was very important. So there's easy fleet integration.
If I was a municipal operator
Mhm.
with a fleet of garbage trucks that are
Yeah.
electric, or I was a bus company or school bus company,
Mhm.
and I had 10 chargers, and for whatever reason, invariably one of them wasn't working, I'd want to have one of these portable chargers there so I could step in with that and wait until the piece of equipment was repaired. But I had a portable charger that I could use, so I wasn't going to be affected
Mhm.
by a problem with one of my chargers. I had this portable unit, so I think that that's a brilliant solution to one of the as an old sales and marketing guy. What are the objections you're going to get? And one of them would be charging, and the portable charger seems to fit like hand in glove, along with trying to sell the bulldozers, front loaders, etc. And I think that's really smart because one without the other wouldn't make nearly as much sense.
That's right. And you actually hit a happy accident that we uncovered, and you just hit it right on the head there. So we made our chargers just for us to be able to make it available for job sites. But because of their compact size and how well they've been able to work, our 220-volt chargers, the size of a briefcase, practically. The 480-volt charger is the size of carry-on luggage. We were getting requests from electric bus companies to have the 220-volt charger on the bus itself. So if there's ever an emergency and they need to just quickly add a little charge to get back to the station or to finish a route, because it's universal across all 220-volt plugs, it opened up the number of areas where they can get that charge done instead of just that home base center with their charging stations. And to your point, same thing with other applications like the waste management companies that are adopting all electric equipment, and also EV rental companies as well. Or any other organization that's looking to integrate and promote EV passenger cars to their operations or to their staff, but don't want to make the major leap to set up and pay and invest into the charging stations to support it. As a temporary short-term solution, they've been utilizing our chargers to provide that. Our 480-volt charger can charge an F-150 Ford Lightning in about 4 to 5 hours from dead.
Yeah.
So people have been deploying that until they get the usage numbers or they get the permits in place or whatever have you to put the stationary chargers. So it's actually been a solution for that short-term gap from idea to charging station implementation
Yeah.
that we've been very proud of, but one that we never even thought of when we designed the product itself.
Yeah. No, and hey, AAA, wake up. There's a
Yep.
product for you.
Hmm.
So it's it seems like range anxiety is something real. People in the industry poo-poo it, but it's real, and having that backup, being able to get somebody to give you enough charge to get to a charging station would really, I think, weigh on a lot of people's minds.
Yep.
So let's talk about the future. I mean, you have barely scratched the surface of the purchases that people will need to make to meet government regulations, CARB rules, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So there's a lot more runway for you, a huge amount of runway to sell these pieces of equipment. But the future is in many ways unclear as to whether electric will be the only zero emission way that we will power equipment. Do you see the future of adding hydrogen vehicles to hydrogen equipment to your lineup, or do you think that that's just a something that will never happen because it just doesn't work as well as the electric stuff does?
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's all about use case. It's especially from a manufacturing background. Um, I grew up working with my hands, and there was never one magical tool to do every single job. I mean, I think in my own personal workshop, I have maybe 12 different hammers for different tasks, just to push something into something else.
Right peg, right hole. That's what they
Yeah,
say.
exactly. And it works the same way from a heavy machinery standpoint. And I think that there will be more, or I hope there will be more fuel system options available to fleet managers to find the best tool for their operation. Fuel cells and hydrogen, I do think that there will be a future for that. The hardest thing is where the economics make sense for it right now with the current technology, it's very, very, very small and it's very expensive. It's difficult to justify it economically. If you're going to have fuel cells delivered, then you might as well have diesel delivered. So it's going to always lose on that case. Uh, Now, if there's a site that is large enough and financially strong enough to put in a hydrogen generator onto their site, similar to how Amazon's doing a hydrogen generation on the roofs of their warehouses because they have a million, plus square feet per distribution center to create the hydrogen to power their forklifts. If there's a site that can do that, like mining, they can put in a hydrogen generator to power and to create the fuel cells to power their equipment. I do see that there's a use case for that, and I really hope that that applies or that creates in the future. But right now, it's very, very difficult because it's a very, very niche product. The technology is still very new, and there's a huge cost hurdle, to try to get the economics. So
And we're talking a lot about green hydrogen. You have to make
yes.
sure that you're not
Mhm.
expending more fuel to make the hydrogen than you would be if you were using electricity alone.
Th-
So,
that's
uh,
correct.
Ray, one of the things about you I find is that you're an extremely enlightened guy, and the heavy equipment and the company and all my dealings with you have been in that mode that there's a very strong sense of enlightened approach to things, and you're doing it right and a gentlemanly approach to the entire situation. So I wanted to thank you for being here with me today. I think you've really made your case well, and I have great hope for the future for you, for HEVI, and for us, decarbonizing using electric equipment, especially on construction sites where a ton of equipment is spewing diesel fumes into the air. And I think this is a great solution for that. So I've been talking with Raymond Wang from HEVI. He's CEO of HEVI. And I want to thank you for being with me today, and thanks for all the dealings and the goodwill that we've had with HEVI. So thank you again, Ray, and we'll be talking soon. And this is Rich Berliner from Charged Up, and I want to thank our guest, Raymond Wang, today for being with me. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching.